Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your immediate Gersnet podcast reaction video, brought to you in association with Forest Precision Engineering after Rangers' 3-1 victory over Dundee in today's Scottish Premiership. I'm Craig Gray, joined by Brian Archer. Brian, 3-1 win over Dundee. Good result at the end of the day. The Clermont machine keeps going on, unbeaten. Showing a bit of passion on the touchline as well as the touchline in the press conference, but I thought the first half was really impressive, and really just a case of trying to see out the game in the second half, really.
Yeah, another 3 points, which at the end of the day is all that matters, but I thought we've seen a different side to the team today in the second half, in terms of there was plenty of grit and determination. They were throwing their bodies on the line to get the 3 points and make sure they didn't concede in that second half when Dundee started to into a bit more, so that was pleasing, seeing that kind of different side to the team. A bit of debate about the sending off, but I'm sure we'll get into that, but all in all, 3 points all that matters.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a pretty, I was about to say a slow start, but it wasn't a slow start, because we had a chance after about 10 seconds where Cifuentes has a shot on target. We had another sort of half chance after that, but then Dundee go up the pitch. Jack Butland pulls off another incredible save. I don't know how he's managed to save that, and you think brilliant. The keeper's put us in that brilliant position again, and then only a minute later they let him down with that goal. Personally, I thought with the goal, I'm over in the Govan. I think Tavernier completely mistimed his jump for the ball that got played into the striker that scored. So I thought he was probably at fault for that one. I mean, it was a poor goal to concede anyway, regardless of who was at fault for it. But
yeah, it was a poor goal to concede. You can't let the ball bounce around like that in your box. You need to defend your box better than that. It's something we've been pretty good at under Clermont, is that defensive side of the game. We've been pretty decent. We've not conceded too many goals, but I thought that was a real poor one, especially from the save that Butland had pulled off earlier, and especially after starting pretty well in terms of he got that shot off in the early moments. I thought Cifuentes, that was going to be the start of things to come from in the game, but it didn't really work out from in the end. I thought, he seemed to be playing a little bit higher up, which I thought maybe would have suited him better. I was hoping he'd maybe get 1 or 2 more shots off, because I think he's got that in his locker, but if only that one had went in, it might have been a different story. And as I say, disappointing to see that goal.
no, it was, but after that we sort of plodded. I didn't really think we created much. I think the place was, I don't want to use the word nervy, because it was still pretty early on in the game, but it is always one of those ones where if you concede early on, you know that team's going to sit in, and eventually we do get an equaliser. Big Cyril Dessers, absolutely brilliant goal. Where has that been all season? He's just out-muscled and powered his way through the entire Dundee defence and smashed into the back of the net. Obviously, Danilo's out injured now for a considerable period of time. Dessers is going to need to step up now. He spoke in there at the press conference about looking forward to this week ahead. We've got the Betis game, we've got the Aberdeen game coming up, and do you know what? It's not a bad time for him to be getting into form.
Yeah, it was probably the ideal time for him to score that goal. And the thing I think that's important is it was a fantastic goal. It wasn't one that just bounced off his backside and went in. It wasn't a deflection. It was a proper, striker's goal, in the sense that he really had to work for it. And plenty of strikers would have just hit that straight at the goalkeeper and kind of not got the goal, but he stuck at it and he hit the shot, and obviously went in. It was a fantastic goal. And yeah, perfect opportunity for him to really go on a run now. He's probably going to get the majority of the minutes, with Roof just coming back from injury still, so he's in prime position to make that striking berth his own. So hopefully that's just the start of things to come from him.
No, absolutely. Going on then, we hear those 3 words by the announcer that everybody loves to hear: penalty to Rangers. Tav steps up, dispatches it, pretty good penalty. In terms of the actual decision itself though, for me it's a penalty. I think it's Sima, his shirt's been pulled by the Dundee defender. We've seen Tony Docherty have a wee moaning grumble about it in the press conference there. There seems to be this sort of narrative about that, Rangers get penalties. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what I think 3 occasions now in the last few weeks, certainly since Philippe Clement's came in. I think the Aberdeen game a couple of weeks ago, obviously the Hearts game here at Ibrox last month, and now the game today. Personally, if I'm Tony Docherty, I would say to my players, you've seen what penalties are going to be given against you for, just don't do it. But it kind of seems to be this narrative that's on, and for me, it's a penalty. Don't pull people's shirts in the box and you won't concede penalties.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that defenders are going to need to learn now with this era of VAR. You just can't get away with pulling attacking players' shots in the box because they're going to give it, and they've always got the opportunity to look back now. And I think defenders are just going to need to change the way they defend. You know, pulling a player's shot is a foul, and it's always been a foul. It's now just so happens that referees have got the chance to go back and look at it again, and they're giving the correct decision now. So defenders are going to need to change the way they defend, otherwise we're going to see more penalties like that. And in terms of the narrative of Rangers get a lot of penalties, Rangers should get a lot of penalties because they attack far more than the opposition in terms of, especially when they're at home in the SPFL. So Rangers should be getting more penalties than the opposition here. It's not some great conspiracy theory to suggest that, you know, when you attack more and you spend more time in the opposition box that you'll tend to get more penalties than any other team. That's just how it goes in football, to be honest. So I think these kind of narratives, it's just, you know, schoolyard stuff. It's not anything to really buy into. It's just, you know, a bit of fun amongst opposition fans, to be honest.
Yeah, quite interesting as well though, the big conspiracy, and we still haven't had the most penalties this season in Scottish football, so the referees really should be doing a better job in my opinion on that conspiracy. We get the third goal, big Abdallah Sima again. The guy's on absolute fire at the moment. We spoke earlier about Dessers getting into form at the right time. I think Seaman's getting into form at the right time as well. He started well under Clermont. You know, he had the game against Hibs where he scored a great goal, the opening goal. But he kind of fell off a wee bit. You know, I think it was 8 games went without scoring, but the last week he's got 4 in his last 3 now. And he's scoring different types of goals as well. You know, a header for a corner today, bullet header, no keeper was stopping that. And you just really hope this is a guy that we can eventually sign for Brighton. But what a player he's been for us this season.
Yeah, he's been tremendous, especially after a bit of a slow start to his Rangers career, but he's really come onto a game now and he's sitting at a purple patch again. And just on that goal, I was more shocked that we scored from a corner, to be honest, because we've not done that of late. It was one of the things that I've been quite critical of, is our corner routines have been pretty poor recently, but I was delighted to see us get a goal direct through a corner, so hopefully there's more of that to come. And in terms of Sima, you know, I wasn't really sure whether he was going to play up front today or whether he would keep out on the left, but Clermont kind of said in the week he hadn't done much training playing up front, so I guess that kind of told you that he would likely stick to his left hand side position. But again, it doesn't seem to matter where you play him. I think he's just one of those players that's got that instinct for goals, and he seems to be a natural goal scorer, and hopefully, as you say, we can keep hold of him.
No, definitely. Another one of the new signings in the summer, we spoke about it earlier, Brian. Jose Cifuentes managed to get himself sent off just in the stroke of half time. I mean, looking back on the actual challenge and the rules, it does seem that it should have been a red card in terms of how the law is, which it's frustrating, but I kind of put it to the other side of like the shot pulls in the box. It's like, I can understand why opposition fans would be upset and frustrated at that, but at the end of the day, it is rules. It's kind of a similar feeling, I think, with this red card. There's no malice in it. You know, the Dundee player slides in, and Cifuentes has, you know, left one on him, but it's not, as I say, it's not malicious. He studs technically high, they're on the ground the whole time, and it's almost as if the players motioned themselves towards his studs. But I think it's one of the ones where, you know, letter of the law nowadays, especially with VAR, Clancy never seen anything wrong with it first off, but then he obviously gives it, so he's out the cup final. It might actually be a further ban because it was a straight red and I think dangerous play, some of the mumbles in the press room were. So I think with the options that we've had in midfield at the moment, I mean, we're ending the game with Dujon Sterling and Leon King in the middle of the park, so here's hoping that Ryan Jack's fit for the next week anyway.
Well, I think if Ryan Jack's not fit for next week, we should be bringing Bruce along to Hampden, because you might get a game.
May as well.
The way our midfield options are going. In terms of the sending off, I've seen it back in real time. Nobody around me seemed to know what the VAR check was for in terms of who was potentially getting sent off, and I think we were all a bit shocked when Cifuentes got sent off. I never really got a clear view of it in real time, and I've seen it back. To be honest, I think you're right, letter of the law, it probably is a sending off, but it's also probably one of those that when you look at it slowed down in VAR, it probably looks a lot worse than it is.
Yeah.
I don't think he's went in to do him as such. I think it's just he's late and he's caught him, and if you look at that slowed down, I think the referee's going to send him off. So I think he's a wee bit unfortunate. I think if the referee gives a yellow card, then I don't think anybody complains about it, to be honest. I don't think it's one of those where you go, that's a clear, definite red card. It wasn't a nasty challenge, it was It was a bit late and he was unlucky, so I'll be interested to see whether they appeal it. Clement said he hadn't seen it back, and he kind of said they would take their time over the next couple of days to decide whether they wanted to appeal it or not, so that'll be interesting to see. I don't know if they could do like a tactical appeal so that he still plays on Sunday. I don't know if that's potentially in their thinking. That would be interesting, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, it does leave us in a real tricky spot for Sunday in terms of midfield options if Ryan Jack's not fit.
It does, but as we mentioned there, we've got a big week coming up, the biggest week of the season so far. Obviously we've got the game next Thursday in Betis, which I kind of think has maybe passed people's eyes a wee bit, because like, at the end of the day, everybody's focused on this cup final next Sunday. That is the one that matters. I mean, people are going to be nervous, excited. I'm really excited because at the end of the day, like the manager touched on and Dessler said earlier, these are the types of weeks that you want to be involved in Rangers in some capacity, isn't it?
Yeah, this is why these players want to come here. You know, they want to play in big European nights, and they want to progress to the next stage of the Europa League. I know we've got the Conference League as a fallback, but for me, you know, that Europa League for me is where we should be and where we should want to be. So I think we need to go over there and get a result. And I think it's alright for fans to maybe look ahead to the cup final because there's silverware on offer there, but I think the players just need to focus, and the mantra from Clement since he's come in has always been one game at a time, one day at a time. I don't think he'll let the players focus shift from Thursday night, so I think they'll be fully focused on that, and then once that's done with, hopefully we get a positive result into the next round of the Europa League and then on to Sunday. So it's a massive week for the club, and as we say, we just hope that we get the results we want, and then we could be coming out of this week in a really good position.
No, absolutely, and it is, as Brian mentioned, an absolutely massive week for the club, and Gersnet will be with you every step of the way. We'll also have Alec Anderson doing his usual post-match reaction pod after this video as well. Brian's going to be on the main pod tonight with Stuart Weir and Ian Duff, and we'll be back next Friday as well to review the game in Betis and preview the cup final. But that's all for us today, folks. From Ibrox, bye for now, guys.